Hey guys, it's Karin. Welcome to LittleArtTalks, and happy Valentine's Day, everyone! To celebrate Valentine's Day throughout this month, I'm going to be sharing some of the greatest partnerships of art history. Of course, I'll be sharing the sweet and passionate love stories, the drama, the affairs, but also what it was like for them to be artists, partners, and even collaborators in some cases. What kind of art did they make, and how did their partners influence their work? So if you're interested in these stories, be sure to subscribe to LittleArtTalks for new videos every Monday. The marriage of Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo is perhaps one of the most well-known unions of artists. Their relationship was also known for its passion and volatility, filled with love, but also affairs, a divorce, and a remarriage. Both were visionary artists celebrated during their lifetime. Rivera was considered the greatest living artist in Mexico, though he did believe that his wife held the title. How cute is that? Rivera was already a prominent Mexican painter when the two met. He was known for his large frescoes with their strong social and political messages, which spurred the Mexican mural movement in Mexican art. He felt strongly that his work served the people by educating viewers about their history and revolution, and his smaller works were often images of the earth, farmers, and laborers. In total contrast to Rivera's outward themes, Kahlo's works were intensely personal. She was born to a Mexican Indian mother and a German father. When she was 6, she contracted polio, which shortened her right leg. At 18, she was in a major bus accident that forced her to stay in bed, encased in a plaster cast. It was during this time that she began to paint out of boredom. She miraculously recovered, but suffered frequent relapses of pain throughout her life and had to be hospitalized for extended periods of time. This influenced her work in a major way. She often painted herself in physical pain, her emotional longing, and her connection to the natural world. Kahlo was still an art student when she met Rivera, and she wanted to ask the famous muralist for some advice on her career. He was impressed with her work, stating that they showed an unusual energy of expression, precise delineation of character, and true severity. They had a fundamental plastic honesty and an artistic personality of their own. It was obvious to me that this girl was an authentic artist. Although Rivera was married at the time, the two had an affair and got married in 1929. Kahlo's parents weren't thrilled with the marriage. This was Rivera's third marriage, and he was a known womanizer. He was also a lot older. He was 42 and she was 22. They called the couple the elephant and the dove because Diego was much larger than Frida, who is small and slender. The two would travel to wherever Rivera received commissions. First to Cuernavaca, where Kahlo's work increasingly drew from Mexican folk art. She began to wear traditional indigenous Mexican peasant clothing to emphasize her mestiza ancestry. The long skirts hid her uneven legs, and Rivera preferred her in Mexican dress. They then went to San Francisco for 6 months, then spent a year in Detroit, and then New York, where Rivera worked on his controversial mural in the Rockefeller Center. During these stays, the couple met many influential artists, collectors, and clients. Kahlo continued to develop her folk art style and painted portraits of several new acquaintances. In San Francisco, she painted Frida and Diego Rivera, a double portrait based on their wedding photograph. Here, she is the genius's adoring wife. While Kahlo enjoyed San Francisco and New York, she struggled in Detroit and became homesick. Due to her health problems, she was unable to have children. She struggled with a pregnancy after a failed abortion, which later miscarried and caused a serious hemorrhage. She was hospitalized for 2 weeks, and 3 months later, her mother passed away. She produced a number of paintings during this difficult time, including Henry Ford Hospital, My Birth, and Self-Portrait on the Border of Mexico and United States. After New York, the two returned to Mexico, but it was during this time when their marriage became even more strained. Her health problems continued, and Rivera was unhappy to be back in Mexico, which he blamed on his wife. While both had affairs throughout their marriage, it was Rivera's affair with Frida's sister that hurt her the most. She even moved out and considered a divorce. The two reconciled but continued to have affairs. Now, from what I can tell, they're kind of in an open relationship. Like, they obviously had a lot of affairs, and the two knew about the affairs. They also were known to live in separate quarters throughout their marriage. They tolerated the affairs, but they weren't very happy about it. It was very tumultuous, and my research was inconclusive. From 1937 to 1938, Kahlo was extremely productive. In the love embrace of the universe, the earth, Diego, and me, she cradles her husband while the couple is embraced by the earth and the universe. In What the Water Gave Me, she alludes to her physical suffering due to her miscarriage, as well as their stay in New York City, with the Empire State Building emerging from the volcano. In 1939, the two divorced due to infidelity and violence. Right before their separation, Frida painted a double self-portrait. On the right, she is dressed as a Mexican peasant holding a portrait of Diego. An artery wraps around and is connected to another image of herself, but this time dressed in a fancy European dress. She holds forceps to close the bleed. This image is often read as the two sides of herself, the one which Diego loves and the one he does not. It can also relate to her split heritage of Germanic and Mexican blood. They only lasted a year before they remarried, but their second marriage was just as volatile as their first. After their reconciliation, she painted an image of herself with Diego on her forehead. Perhaps she is saying she cannot get him out of her mind and that she cannot live without him. Frida remarked, "Being the wife of Diego is the most marvelous thing in the world. I let him play matrimony with other women. Diego is not anybody's husband and will never be, but he is a great comrade." Rivera wrote in his autobiography that the day that Kahlo died was the most tragic moment of his life. And perhaps Diego was onto something when he said that his wife was the greatest living artist in Mexico. In the early 1980s, when Rivera's murals began to look outdated, Kahlo's work was being rediscovered. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the work of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Little Art Talks for more videos on love and art throughout the month of February. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who make Little Art Talks a thing. If you enjoy what I do, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/littlearttalks to make a monthly pledge or a one-time donation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.